Hello, and welcome to the 6th and final episode of Season 1 of Monster Adventures. Potbelly and Toadjammer, after last week's volcanic eruption, decided to come back to Plant Island since nothing crazy had happened here yet. This time, Potbelly and Toadjammer were going back into the mines, but not just the mini-mine, the maximum mine. Meaning Plant Island was the place to be, so they started off their adventure. They knew that this mine would take them significantly deeper into a spot they probably would never have gone before. And just as that was happening, all the rumble caused one section of the mine to collapse. Potbelly and Toadjammer started getting out of there onto the second path. Anything to get out of the mines. After a long trail, they finally got to a big labyrinth. Potbelly and Toadjammer knew that they would each have to go separately. Potbelly and Toadjammer had never heard about this before and had no idea where to go. So they looked at the map, and Potbelly confirmed that they were on the right track. Toadjammer peeked down a hallway, and that clearly wasn't the way to go. Potbelly peeked down another hallway and saw that it did go on for a bit longer, so that it was potentially a spot to go. Toadjammer checked this was going to go down the second path, and Potbelly was going to go down the third. Toadjammer would take the rope, and Potbelly would take the shovel. So Potbelly started off on his journey. It was a lot of winding corridors until Potbelly got to a wall. This wall clearly wasn't a brick wall, but it also was pretty stable. Toadjammer was walking through and was experiencing pretty much the same thing. The walls were both too hard to push. The wall was too hard for Toadjammer to push, and too hard for Potbelly to push. But Potbelly had the shovel and figured he could use that for something. So Potbelly tried whacking the wall, but that did nothing. So it was on to plan B. Potbelly took the shovel and wedged it into a small hole, and was able to pry the wall open. Toadjammer figured out if he put string, he could tug on the wall because of the way it was put up. And Toadjammer continued on. Toadjammer was met with a brick wall and then a wooden spot, but Toadjammer didn't know it was on the other side. Toadjammer could hear something on the other side and tried listening in. Potbelly knew this wall wouldn't be very hard to push out of the way because it was only made out of wood, and thin wood at that, so Potbelly continued on his way and was met by another wall. Potbelly came to the other side, and he was also met with another wall. But he heard something on the other side of the smaller wooden wall, so he listened in closely, so he used his shovel to break down the wall. The wall wasn't very well built and was pretty old, so it came crumbling down easily. Potbelly and Toadjammer were only able to see and talk to each other. Plus, they still didn't know which way might work, because Toadjammer's brick wall didn't look like it was built very securely. Potbelly broke through the wall with a mighty hit of the shovel, and continued on the adventure. But just as Potbelly was exiting, he saw that he had entered a crystal cave. Toadjammer was able to use the string to dislodge one of the bricks and push down the wall. Toadjammer also saw the same thing. He was in a crystal cave. ToeJammer, comparing the crystal to the picture, confirmed that he was in the right place. But just as ToeJammer was walking away, another rumble happened, and the wall where ToeJammer came from had collapsed. More bricks from the ceiling had fallen on top, so ToeJammer decided to run away. Eventually, ToeJammer got to a spot that was pretty open, and it did stop rumbling. The same time the rumble happened for ToeJammer, it happened for Potbelly, and his wall fell down too. Potbelly started running away frantically as he did not want to get crushed by any potential falling bricks. And he saw a super huge crystal along the way. Potbelly was running super fast until he got to the spot and saw something amazing. ToeJammer got there too. Potbelly heard ToeJammer. ToeJammer heard Potbelly. They both looked and ran towards each other. They were so excited to see each other. But the matter was that they still had to put the crystals in. They confirmed that they were in the right spot. And there it was, the 5 natural rock formations for each of the natural islands. Now it was just to put the crystals in. The rock formations were really pretty, but just as they were staring and basking in the glory, another rumble happened. Potbelly and ToeJammer knew they didn't have much more time before the walls of this cave would collapse. They had to get the crystals in soon. Potbelly and ToeJammer knew time was running out, and they had to get the crystals in the rock formations as soon as possible. The ceiling was starting to fall and collapse, and they were worried they might get hit. Potbelly ran over to the Plant Island rock formation and put the Plant Island crystal in. After that, ToeJammer put the Cold Island crystal in. Potbelly put the Air Island crystal in. And ToeJammer put the Water Island crystal in. It was down to the final Earth Island crystal when another rumble started to happen. Quickly, Potbelly and ToeJammer put it in, and the rumbling stopped. They cheered and celebrated. They were so excited. As Potbelly and ToeJammer were watching the rock formations glow, they saw that a beam of light shot out of it. After the rumbling stopped, Potbelly and ToeJammer knew they did it. They saved the monster world. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the series, make sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I spent a long time making this series, and it's one of my favorite series that I've done on my channel.